Hi, I'm with Roger Barr, the man behind Nell's, the original Nell's back in the day, 1998 to 2000.
2004, the spring of 2004 when Nell's closed, the Cuban Soul Party went into the ether.
Well, what happened? Why did it close?
The club, I think the owner of the club just got tired and I guess they weren't making it on the other nights. Our night was great, as everybody knows, and the club closed down, so we sort of took a bit of a rest for a while, and then the next fall I got involved with Larry Gold and we started a Salsa Groove party at SOB's, which is still going strong on Friday nights at SOB's.
Yeah, it's a very hot night. You're the man behind a hot night in salsa. How did you first get turned on to salsa music?
It came really out of a collection of African music I had, and then I came to live in New York City in 1984. And I lived on the Lower East Side, so I listened to a lot of salsa music coming out of cars outside my house. And then I started going actually to SOBs and seeing live music, and the horns and the music, everything just worked for me. And somehow I got involved in working with musicians, and the party at Nell's occurred because I had been a bartender here years and years before. And then I was working with some other people on a party downtown, and the then manager of Nell's came to me and said, "Hey, why don't we try this out?" And it went from strength to
huge success.
Well, it was a 5.5-year party at really a non-Latin club, which went every Wednesday night, and 293 Wednesdays in a row, something like that.
Wow. So what was your max capacity usually?
It really varied. I mean, the capacity of the club, legal capacity, I think at that time was 550. So, of course, when we had Ricardo Lemvo here the first time, we had about 700 and something people here that day.
Wow.
So, and that was often, if we had a big night, if we had somebody up from Cuba, we would have a lot of people coming. But it used to be around about 400 to 500, depending on who was playing at the height of the party.
Well, I've done a little research, and you're very big into world music.
Yeah.
What's your first love?
Do you mean the world music or the salsa?
Yes, world music or the salsa.
Well, I don't know. I mean, salsa is really all music's world music, really. But I think if you what you mean by world music is Brazilian, African, different things like that. I like a lot of that. I like a lot of combinations. I like the way it fuses and sits together, because I just mentioned Ricardo Lemvo from Makina Loca. He's a guy from West Africa who now lives in LA and works with Cuban musicians. And think of Africando is a great example of that too. And while I'm talking about that, we actually, during the Cuban Soul Party's run, we had two salsa bands from really unusual places. Well, we had a son band, I shouldn't say salsa, a son band called Septeto Son from Finland. That came, this was the weirdest thing, these skinny blonde white guys playing Cuban son like Septeto Nacional, they were amazing. And we had one time Salsa Celtica, which is a band from Scotland, where half of them were wearing kilts and playing bagpipes and fiddles, and it all worked fine. So I think that's the great thing about this music, it travels all over the world and it comes back, and it's still got a home here in New York, I hope.
Yes, it will always have a home in New York.
Yeah, it's very big in Europe. In England, there are clubs all over the place now. In Germany, it's very popular as well. We need to pump it up a bit more in New York City, all you people out there. You've got to get out to your clubs and really support the music, because that's the only way it's going to keep going.
It's true, because the laws changed about 10 years ago, and a lot of the clubs that were in the city closed down because they violated certain codes, right?
Well, I don't know if it was codes or other things that they violated, but they were having maybe too much fun for the mayor at the time. But I think that the clubs would be stronger if the people supported it, and I think it's great that we're doing this reunion party tonight, and what Wes and the guys are doing down here on Wednesday nights at the old Nell's, which is now the Plum on West 14th Street, on Wednesday nights, is a really great, it's a great sort of thing to get it going again, and hopefully you can get some of the vibe going of what we had all those years ago. Whose
idea was it to have the reunion?
It was Wes's idea, really. I mean, they came to me and said, we would like to do this. What do you think? And at first I was like, oh man, I'm getting too old for all this, all this promotion stuff, because it really is a young man's sport. I mean, you really push, and I really hope they do well, because as somebody who ran a successful party, and especially since I was going into a community, by the large part one which was foreign to me, it's a lot of work. It's a very hard road they're going, and I think they deserve a lot of support, and I hope people do support them.
Great. So I have to ask, do you salsa dance?
I tend for a little bit more of the rumba.
The rumba?
Yeah, I'm a big Cuban fan. I've been there four times, I think. And we used to, when we had Nell's, we would bring bands from Cuba whenever we were allowed to get them into the country, and we saw some great acts here. I mean, we had Grupo Sierra Maestra from Havana. We had Laito who is the son of the great Laito from Sonora Matancera. We had lots of great bands here from Cuba.
Wow. Sorry, I missed those days.
And not only from Cuba. I mean, we had Nelson Gonzalez here, Jimmy Bosch. I mean, all the regular New York people too. I mean, it's been great, and it's going to be great again.
It will be great again. What are you doing now?
Right now I have my own production company, Candela Productions, which was a sort of spin-off from people wanting to book bands that we had here at the then Nell's. I do a lot of private events, corporate events, weddings, all kinds of things, with all kinds of different music, world music.
Well, I hope you do more Nell's reunions.
I hope. Actually, we should do this an annual thing, make it an annual thing, okay?
I would agree. Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Night.